How long can you stay on keto diet? That is a super good question. If you've been considering doing keto to improve your health or drop some of those unwanted pounds, then you may have been asking that very question. If that's you, then you're in the right place. I'm here to answer that question in today's video, so let's get started. Hi, I'm Dr. Kelly Shockley, Doctor of Cause, Chiropractic, board certified in sports medicine and specialized in clinical nutrition. In this video, we're going to lift the lid on the effects and benefits of the keto lifestyle. Once you have these in your wheelhouse, then you can decide how long you want to actually be on keto. Then we're going to cover the little known risks associated with the keto diet. If you do keto correctly, you won't have to worry about any of these actually coming to fruition. So let's get into that too. And finally, I will be sharing with you the answer to the question of how long should you actually be on a keto diet. Plus, I'm going to be giving you a safe alternative. Let's dive on in. What are the effects and the benefits of the keto lifestyle? Well, there are many. So I want to share these in their entirety for you because this will help give insight on if this is something that you really want to embrace as a lifestyle. And also, like if you're already doing keto, these could be some of those more motivating and encouraging factors to stick with keto for maybe longer than what you were originally planning. Now, I know most people really begin the keto diet because of the incentive there is with losing those unwanted pounds. But there is so much more that can actually improve about your health than just shedding some of that weight. One of its claims to fame is it's really anti-aging in its effects, assuming you're eating not just straight dairy while on keto. That's not the right way to do it, okay? When you are consuming food in alignment with the keto diet, so really low carb, great healthy fats and moderate amounts of proteins, and you're still eating a lot of vegetables, it produces a very antioxidant, free from free radical type of a diet. So it's going to actually slow down the rate of aging because those free radicals are part of what creates aging within the body. Another super cool benefit that you're probably a little bit aware of is that it actually helps to lower your blood glucose levels. This ultimately is going to reduce your risk for any kind of, developing type 2 diabetes, which is where a lot of the power behind its fat burning capability comes from. When you keep your blood sugar levels low, your body is forced to tap into its stored energy, which is in the form of fat. So you become a fat burning machine when you're living a keto lifestyle. Now, there is some talk about keto and that type of a lifestyle being very anti-cancer in its benefits. Part of this comes from the fact that when you're consuming what you're supposed to be in order to be in ketosis, you're avoiding the foods that actually create an environment within your body that is, desirable for not only cancers, but all forms of different type of infections. So bacteria, virus, fungus. So you are getting rid of that desirable environment. Plus, you are knocking out cancer's main food supply, which is refined sugars. So there is a lot of talk of this being a diet that is really helpful for somebody who maybe has already been diagnosed with cancer, or if you would like to just avoid this outcome, then changing over to the keto diet is going to create an environment that is just not habitable for most cancers, or like I said, any of those infections. And that is huge. One of the benefits that I love about the keto diet and the keto lifestyle is that you get enhanced brain function. I mean, who doesn't want their brain to work better? Part of why this is because the brain, while it does use glucose and, that's your blood sugar really easily, it actually prefers ketones. And when you're in ketosis, that's the alternate form of fuel that the body can operate on. Well, the brain actually really enjoys ketones more than it does glucose. When you shift into ketosis, part of what happens with your brain is all of a sudden that brain fog is gone. You have more mental clarity. You're able to focus and concentrate more like a ninja. Your memory capacity actually returns again. And everything about like cognitive function, behavior, all heightens when you're living in a ketosis state. Another one that is super important is it can lower your risk for cardiovascular disease, heart disease, which happens to be the #1 killer in the United States for both women and men. So reducing your risk for the number one killer is kind of a game changer, if you ask me. Now, I'm curious, did you know about any of these other health benefits that you could start experiencing or, reaping the reward of by living a keto lifestyle? Let me know your comments down below. I always appreciate when you guys communicate back with me. It helps me know what's helpful, what information have you already learned, what's new, what perspective you actually have. So go ahead and drop those comments down below for me, and that's awesome. Now we're going to discuss the little known risks that are actually associated with living a keto lifestyle. And as I mentioned in the intro, you can avoid these when you do keto the right way. But let's talk about these. One of the first risks you may have heard about with ketosis in living that keto lifestyle is the potential for muscle loss. And you see, your body won't just make ketones, which is that alternate fuel that you're living in or using while you're on a ketosis path. It doesn't just make those out of fat. It can also make them out of muscle. So ultimately what that means is you could potentially break down some of your lean muscle mass to try to create fuel. You can avoid this from happening if you are regularly doing some form of strength training and promoting more of that lean muscle mass development. Another one that you may have heard about is just some stress on the kidneys or potential development of kidney stones. Now, part of this is anytime we're eating a higher amount of protein, 30% or more, we want to make sure we are hydrating properly. You see, it takes more hydration, more water for your kidneys to be able to process the proteins. Now, keto is not a high protein diet per se, but still, you want to give your body the ability to process what you're putting in it. Electrolyte balance is something else that you may not be aware of, but we might need to do a bit more of this with being in a ketosis state. Potassium is one of the electrolytes that you may not be getting enough of. So adding in more foods that are rich with potassium, which by the way, it's not just bananas, which are not ketogenic, right? Adding some of that in or making sure you're supplementing with a good electrolyte, base that contains potassium can really reduce this risk to nothing at all. So don't be fearful, just make sure you're doing what you need to. The other thing with this, with ketosis, yes, you're eating proteins. You don't want to eat the proteins that we know are already not good for us, which would be all of those processed meats, your luncheon meats. We want to eat protein the way that it was intended for us to consume, unadulterated from clean sources, using cooking methods that are safer for us that will really reduce the risk of developing any issues with your kidneys. One of the other challenges is yo-yo dieting or, the weight gain that can come from this. Living a ketogenic life is definitely more restrictive than any of the other diets that are out there. And with that, we as a people don't always have amazing and impeccable willpower. So when we derail, we do have potential for weight gain, and it just depends on how intensely are you derailing and for how long. That is one of the fears I hear a lot with coming off of ketosis or coming out of that ketogenic lifestyle is that you're just going to gain back all of the weight. This is like any potential diet, regimen that you put in place. If you are living one way and you're making great gains, or losses for that matter, when it comes to weight, and you choose not to do that diet anymore, it's really about what are you going to do in place of it. You can't maintain any amount of weight loss if all of a sudden you just go back to eating the standard American diet or consuming way too many calories, not exercising. Like, there's lots of variables that are in there. So this can be completely avoided if you just stay in ketosis, or when we get to an alternative, being able to go to a still healthy diet that's maybe not as restrictive as ketosis is or the ketogenic diet, you won't have this crazy fluctuation of weight. As we kind of alluded to already, hydration is really important, just in general, but especially when you're doing a ketogenic diet. And part of this is, not going to get into all the technobabble, but what you need to know is when your body is using glycogen, which is the stored energy that the muscles contain, it actually uses water to process that glycogen, which if you're not getting enough in, this process by using glycogen can actually dehydrate you and again, create more of that electrolyte imbalance. So it's really important that you're consuming or drinking half of your body weight in ounces per day, no more than 3 quarts though, unless you're actively replacing electrolytes. Doing that will help ward off any potential challenge or result of dehydration. Those are kind of the main risks that are associated with the ketogenic diet. And as I mentioned, if you do things correctly, you don't have to worry about any of these risks whatsoever. So it's just a matter of being intelligent when you're doing the ketogenic diet, making sure you're covering your bases and really taking stride to do a healthy version of a ketogenic diet. Now, before I get into how long should you stay on a keto diet, I just want to take a moment to remind you to click on that subscribe button right below this video, turn the notifications on, and if you're enjoying today's video, give me a big thumbs up. I appreciate your support. I am regularly producing videos that help you be able to take back control of your health and ultimately help you achieve what I like to call total body mastery. It's where you become invincible with your health. So again, click that subscribe button, turn the notifications on, and give me a big thumbs up if I'm doing a good job for you. Awesome. Thank you. Now, what is the answer to the question of how long should you stay in a ketogenic state or be on the ketogenic diet? Honestly, that's entirely up to you. If you're doing things correctly, there really is no negative effects that will come from keto. So it's more of how long can you handle living that restrictive type of a lifestyle. I know people who have been living keto for years and they love it and there's no turning back. And for them, it doesn't feel restrictive because it's just their normal, right? With that said, some people have challenges with feeling like they're missing out. Now, there is a different way that you can approach this where you do ketogenic lifestyle, say 5 days out of the week, and predominantly on the weekends, you can kind of cycle out of it. Now, is this going to completely derail your progress? No, actually not at all. You're intentionally coming out of ketosis on the weekends and then going back into ketosis during the week. There is benefit in this, especially if you are trying to gain muscle mass or you're an athlete, or if you just need to feel like you've got a little bit of flex in life, then you can do what they call a cyclical ketogenic diet. Now, like I was saying, ultimately what that's meaning is, during your week, 5 days for sure, you can do 6 also, you're following the ketogenic principles and, you're keeping your carbohydrates as low as what they should be and really keeping fat high, and then your proteins at that moderate level. On the weekends, if that's when you choose to come back out of this, for an athlete, this is where you could use quote unquote carb loading to your benefit. It allows for then your workouts and what you do the rest of the week when you're in that ketogenic state to maybe be a little bit more enhanced than if you were just continually doing the ketogenic diet. Now, ultimately, it is not permission to just go eat whatever you want to. I mean, we still need to be mindful of this. If we really want to get benefits from following a keto diet, then when we come out of that on the weekends, we still want to eat healthy. We don't want to just go sit down and pig out on as much ice cream or pizza or whatever your guilty pleasure is. We don't want to do that for that entirety because it will make it that much more challenging to get back into that ketosis state. And also you're going to be derailing any progress that you're making. So ultimately, again, you can do whatever works for you as far as how long do you want to stay on the ketogenic diet. I think the bigger question people have is when they're feeling so amazing on this, is there any risk of staying on it long term? And really the answer is no. As long as you are making sure you're mixing up your vegetables as best as you can and you're covering your bases for your nutrients and you're exercising, you're sleeping, you're hydrating, there is no long-term risk for you for staying on a ketogenic diet. Now, if you've done ketosis or gotten into that ketogenic state, you may have gone through the keto flu, or maybe you're noticing that you still don't have the high level of energy that you're hoping for. You're feeling a little sluggish yet. Don't worry, I've got some other answers for you. If you look down below this video, click on the description so it expands. Scroll down to where you see From Sluggish to Unstoppable. This is a free copy of that ebook for you. You can have immediate access to it, and it will help you understand what might actually be going on with your health as to why you're not experiencing all the benefits that we were discussing in this video today, or can help you just put the whole progress path on fast forward. So again, just click on that description below, make it expand, look for the From Sluggish to Unstoppable ebook, and I can't wait to see you on a future episode. Thanks so much for being here. Have an awesome day. God bless.